Wait, don't turn it on yet.
All right, Barry, don't pull your pants down now.
Yeah. I wanted to tell you something before you recorded. No, I'm not going to tell you.
Tell me after the meeting.
Nah, I'm probably going to leave early. I'm packing.
You're going to forget.
For this trip. Oh no, I'm not. I won't forget this.
Okay, you want me to stop the recording?
Yeah, just for a second.
Well, I mean, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
We're recording.
So I was telling Larry about the bad spots in the shows, and I just don't understand why the directors don't do a better job on eliminating bad spots.
Yeah,
I know.
It's ridiculous. Everybody pays the same booth fee. Everybody should have the same opportunity for traffic.
Yeah, because the only thing I go to the shows, though, it's not their fault if I do good or bad a show, but I want to be in a place that I have a fighting chance. I don't want to be in a bad spot. I understand somebody has to be the first one on the line, the last one of the line, but there's no spot. There's no traffic whatsoever.
They could eliminate those spots. I did Winter Park one year. Well, I did more than 1 year, but 1 year I was in this there's a flower garden or something, and there was some good people there, in our section, and I'm going, where are all the people? And I walk out and I look at the rest of the show, and the place is jammed except for our row. Like, there's no reason to have people over there.
Yeah.
Over where we were.
It's just brutal, especially when it used to be a booth fee would cost you $300, but now the booth fees are $600, $500, $1,000. I really want it. I just want to be in a decent spot for the show. So, the most funny thing I saw who's during Coconut Grove.
Oh, tell me.
So Carla Fox, David Brojansen, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Cindy Lookwick or something like that.
Cindy Lyric?
Yeah. And then two other people, I don't remember the name. And I go like, I didn't get in.
That really pisses me off. I can't believe that. Because I have a love-hate relationship with those people, and David Bjorstrom already rejected me from St. Louis. So that's a little club there in a certain value system, and that I don't fit in, and they don't understand what I do at all, not even close. So, well, even though I've won plenty of awards at Coconut Grove, well, I guess I'm going back to Artie Gras.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to get my hair cut and look businesslike.
On placement, though, for shows, it seems pretty serendipitous sometimes. It looks like a good spot and all, but then nobody comes. That's sort of what I went through with, the little show that I did last week. It was well lit. I got an 8-foot table instead of the 6-foot table because evidently now 24 inches is standard instead of 30, which was what I had asked for, the 6 by 30. It was, like I said, it was in a nice area. It was near somebody passing out free food, but maybe a dozen people came by.
Wow.
And I sold like $40 worth of stuff, that cost me $200 to be there. And the booth next to me was busy, and that was one I was going to tell you guys about. There was other art there at the show, or other artisan made stuff, but one lady was selling purses that she made. At the other booths, what they were selling were sip and craft type of things, or the painting booth, which was right next to me, they laid out canvases that she had put sort of a variegated blue thing on, and then drew lines, and people came over and filled in between the lines with the paint that she put out. And she's doing that as a business. It's
Listen,
called Inside Out Art.
listen, I can tell you what I do about those situations. First of all, I have a sixth sense. I avoid those events like the plague because it's not going to do, I mean, it's going to waste my time. But I'm also, I have no tolerance for stuff that shouldn't be there. And I'm not
Well,
very, I'm
It
not
was a
very nice
business
about it.
expo. It was a business expo, not a art show.
Okay, well, then you're getting what, you can't complain about it.
Well, no, I'm just saying, the person who was running the thing thought it was a great spot. I thought it was a good spot until the actual event, progressed.
It's just
So
that,
it was,
you know, what I find out is you have to have more than a reason. When it's an open space with traffic, you have to have more than a reason to go there. It's
well,
perfect morning
free
glory.
food.
Morning glory overall. It's the show down in Milwaukee, and it's in front of where the Bucks play in August. The only thing that's in there really to attract people is right now, I think maybe 4 bars, and that's it. Nothing else. There's no reason why to go to that area. And no matter how much advertising you do, you're not going to bring enough traffic, generic traffic to the area, because not everybody's going to come to do I don't know what I do for advertising, really. So there's a lot of factors about traffic. You have to have more than one reason other than the show to come to the show. I start to think more that way. When you're in the street area, like another example is Ann Arbor. Like if you compare South View section compared to Main Street section, that's another good idea. You get more things to do over there than just walk to nothing around there or watching the booth. So I don't know, but that's my take.
Um, my comment, well, I have a rhetorical comment or question, and then I'm gonna tell you what I do. So Kaylee,
Katie, yeah.
Katie,
Yeah.
don't you have any friends? Don't answer
that-
That's rhetorical. Don't answer
Yeah.
that. Now, the reason why I ask that is because if I generally ask around, do you know about this show? And there's always people that know, and sometimes I take it with a grain of salt because they're based on what they did, and they might not always do, they might do really well, and then it's still not your thing, or they do really crummy, and or they do whatever, just the opposite of what your experience is. So, but I do ask that. But I can tell you what I did for St. James Court and for Tennessee, for the Tennessee show. St. James Court, I requested a space last year. I said I want to be in a certain space, and I started that a year in advance. So I got the space in Tennessee. There's some really good spaces on cement because of the walkway, and then there's spaces on the grass, which if it rains, it's horrible because it's spongy. So it turns out a friend of mine was in this really great spot. So I called him up and said, "Hey, I want to be next to so and so." I mean, I actually called and said, "This is where I want to be," and they actually were nice. They put me right. They put me right where I wanted to be. So, don't be afraid to ask. Now, if you don't know, like I realize this spot you didn't know about, and that happens, but it doesn't really happen that much to me. Only once in a great while, and I hate it when it does. So I'm with you on that.
I didn't expect to make a whole lot, but I expected more people to come by towards the end, because 2 spaces down from me was a free craft beer tasting thing going on. I got a couple that were a little bit tipsy and they bought the stuff I just brought to show what I did for Comic-Con. And
Excellent.
somebody bought this crown and I asked her if she wanted a bag and she says, no, I'm going to wear it.
Great.
But
So, but
You
do you do
know.
those kinds of events? Because I can't. I can't stand it.
well, I know the person who put the thing on and she's marketing. That's her whole thing is marketing. So,
So-
she said, please, 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 I need to fill up the room. She did get it filled, but and I
And
had
did you
I had the only large table.
And did you say, then comp me my booth space and I'll come?
Well, no, if she
She's
needed,
begging you.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
mean, you need a perk.
she discounted it, but
Oh, well, okay, that's the same thing.
yeah, I mean,
She gave you a deal.
yeah, $100
Yeah.
off. So,
Yeah.
but and like I said, it looked like a good spot. It was roomy, so I had space behind me. I didn't have to bump into people, back to back with me like some of the other areas. It was well lit. It's close to food, close to the beer, both of which were free. So,
Mm.
and it was right next to the painting booth, which got a lot of people going in there to paint between the lines.
That has an advantage in that if the show's going to be the way it was, then you can drink a lot and make a fool out of yourself. And you
Well,
will.
that's what I think that last lady did.
Hey, you don't need to drink a lot to make a fool out of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Not in
drink,
my case. Not in my case.
The sandwiches were good.
There you go.
In fact, at the end of it, because not enough were passed out, there were trays left, and
Past.
one of them
Oh
home.
God.
These are those designer type, not fast food, but casual dining type stuff that springing up all over here. But on their menu, the sandwich is like $12. So I had a whole tray of them. I think there were about 8 of them in the tray.
Wow.
But they were giving out, they had cut them in quarters or giving those out free as a sample. Food booths got their space free, but there were only a couple of them.
They should pay more.
No, I mean, nothing was prepared there. Everything was brought in already prepared.
Doesn't matter. Everybody buys food.
Well,
Yeah.
these were restaurants and catering and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they should have paid and your booth should have been free. They got it backwards.
Right.
In any case, this was her last one, which is why she wanted to go out with a bang. So I guess it was, like I said, interesting, I guess, but
So, Oscar, that's really, the Coconut Grove thing's really troubling. I've done that show more than all those judges put together if you added all the times they've done it. And yet they're going to judge whether I should be in the show or not. Something wrong with that. I don't know whether I should call her or just send her a message.
I think I know that Carla and David like my work. It's more about, I don't know the other three, so we'll see.
Of course, I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, we're probably gonna be totally wrong. I'm crossing my fingers that I get in. It was one of my best shows in Florida.
Yeah, I better get in. Well, I don't know about that, but I haven't done it in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and I don't miss it. So,
The problem with Coconut Grove was last year. I think that once you park in the parking lot, you cannot leave
yeah,
and come back in.
I like that though.
No, because I needed to
Yeah.
shower. So it was not that convenient.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. 3 days of no showers, that's tough.
Yeah, it got so bad that I had to go and buy bottled gallons and shower like that. So, because I couldn't deal with it. But that's band life for you.
Yeah, I know.
So we'll see. I will be more prepared next year. So I
Listen,
think.
there were women jewelers, at least one that I know, that was staying in her vehicle in that back lot. And you know, guys, yes, but you know, she might not have even been in the back lot. She might have been on the street or something. It was really weird.
It's
And
not, it's a lot of female artists. Actually, the person that teach me how to say the band is a female.
yeah, there's a little party that goes on back there.
There's a lot of female artists that say in the band. I just don't. I know who they are. I just keep that to myself.
Yeah,
They don't. You don't need to advertise in that. It's
yeah,
safe to.
exactly.
But it's I would. That's what I apply to Autograph and Boca Museum and see what happens. So, but I'm doing Bonita one for the first time ever. I got in right in. No way
Yeah,
list.
that's
I was
right.
shocked, I tell you.
January.
Yeah. I think that's the best one of all three of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not going down that early, but the way it looks, I might be able to.
I need to go early. I just want to get out of the cold.
I know. You know what? I tried to get in after the
Hey,
fact.
if you go now, all the traffic's going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to go now. It's not. It's not good for your health.
Come on, you want to go?
Not now.
Yes, you want to.
Ned, I
Listen,
thought you were going to be sending me new booth pictures.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't get one till late in the day, and then I was tired, and I was gonna put it up on my screen here, and I didn't. So
Okay.
I don't have it. I will. Maybe I'll put it up on my thing, or I'll send it to you this week.
Yeah, I shot a booth yesterday. I had a friend drive from Dayton, come here to set up his booth yesterday, and then drive home to Atlanta afterwards.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he didn't get here until 4:30. So by the time I finished shooting, it was 7:30 at night.
Oh.
It was almost dark.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you guys who have a lot of experience. So I did a 1-day show on Sunday. The weather, I mean, the temperature was beautiful. It didn't rain, but it was windy, and I knew it was going to be windy. So then I couldn't sleep all night thinking of how am I going to set the booth up, because I don't know where I'm going to be. I've never been to this park before. So I didn't attach my tent to the panels, thinking that if the tent swayed, I didn't want my panels to sway because I have all those balls and they fall off so easily. And it seemed to work out pretty well. Is that kind of, do other people do that, or where you don't attach them and they're just kind of on their own? Does that make any sense?
I'm 2D, so everything would be attached. So Barry, you're 3D.
But my thing is, if it didn't blow over, then it was okay. If it blows
Right.
over, well, maybe you should attach them. I mean, who knows? No, I know it sounds weird, but who knows? You don't know.
Do you do?
But if the tent was swaying and my panels weren't swaying, that was my thought. I thought, well, maybe if just the tent sways and the panels are inside, and I had all the bars across, and
If
it
your
stayed
tent was
pretty
your
well.
tent was swaying, you need to buy stabilizer bars. To
Oh,
me,
no,
that's
it didn't really. I have stabilizer bars, what I had on, so, and it didn't sway too much.
Okay, you need cross bracing.
Yeah, I have that on the panels.
No, on the tent.
On the 10.
Cross bracing?
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, I have the
You-
bars at the bottom.
You can get those tie down straps, and you go from the upper corner on one end of the wall to the bottom corner on the on the other end, and tighten it up.
Oh, on the outside, so nobody
Yeah.
sees it.
you know what? I
Oh,
have walls,
Yeah,
wood
you have hard
walls.
walls.
and they're not attached to my tent. And I actually, if it's windy, I'm looking at the tent. It's inevitable it's going to sway a little, but if the wood walls are all together, I don't sweat it. It's fine.
They're
Just
not
because
attached to your tent.
because it is possible. Now I haven't tested this, but if you attach it all together, the tent to your panels and everything, and maybe the whole thing sways. That might it might be better just to let the tent sway if the rest is just standing up.
Right.
Do you have pro panels?
What?
Do you have pro panels?
Yeah, I have pro panels. And I think the new shelves that I ordered, those pro panel shelves, I think they kind of helped the tent stay more stable because you got the ladders kind of holding it too. So maybe all that together.
My friend Adam does ceramics, and he has the shelves, and he does attach the panels to the tent, and also use the hooks. Then it has a bunch of crossbars. So basically, and that's the other thing, he puts about 60 pounds in each corner.
Oh,
And
45.
And the tent doesn't move, and he has a 9-foot tall tent.
Yeah, I do too. So I feel like it makes it less stable, because it's higher, catches more
Yeah,
weight.
but what you have to do is put more weight. Don't go over 70, because I think after that the tent start collapsing by itself. But if you put like 70 pounds in each corner and the stabilizers, it should be fine. But just make sure that the weights are tied to the tent. Don't let it
Oh yeah.
swing.
Don't let it sway. I have 45 pounds on each corner, and it's fine.
That's what I have right now. But then I also, at one of the fairs, someone had stabilizer bars across the top of their tent. Like it was a jewel, and their tent was swaying, but it held it. I don't know. Does it help to have them on the bottom and the top?
Not really. It doesn't make.
No.
But I'm going to tell you, if it's the other thing, how what was the gust speed? Like a
Oh,
30?
I don't know. I think it was like 16 or 17 with up to 20 something.
Yeah, that's
It's coming
nothing.
right through my tent. I had one, this is kind of bad. I had one 48 by 48 painting in the back of my booth behind my desk. And I had a door right there, and a wind came through, and someone was in my tent, and my painting went flying off the wall and hit her. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just, it was terrible. So I took the painting down. I thought, oh no, I'm gonna have to use my insurance. But I mean, I don't know. And I do have Velcro on the back, but it ripped it off. So it was kind of strong, I guess, if it did that.
Yeah. So I don't think that you can do anything else than what you're doing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I thought maybe leaving a hole, like a doorway where the wind could go through, would be better than, because I brought the sides of the tent, and I thought if I put the tent sides down, maybe if I zip it up, it will be better, but I never did do that.
What?
It's like Barry said, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
But it may, there are going to be times where it won't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
We used to use the air vents in the top of the craft hut to let the air flow through.
Yeah. I forget to undo them. I still use the trap. I think the
Oh,
craft hut is still the best tent.
You need a ladder.
I have a ladder. But
It-
I think that's the best tent. They don't make them anymore, of course.
Right.
Yeah. If you streamline, make sure you open the vents in the top all the time. That does help a lot. Even if it's raining, leave the vents open.
I have a light dome. I don't have vents.
Oh, that could be also another problem. Because
yeah.
because you have the train line, have the vents, and the air will goes out, doesn't move, check the tent.
I don't, the light dome, I don't know about what it's like with stabilizer bars, but I was next to one once, and that was the most wavy tent that really swayed. a lot. I was afraid it was going to knock mine over, do something to me. That so of all the tents, I think that one sways the most.
Yeah, it actually seemed better not being attached to the panels this time.
Yeah.
I noticed it seemed like it didn't really move as much as the wind was blowing. I was really surprised, that it didn't. But maybe it's because I didn't have it attached. I just had it weighted down and I had the hole where the wind. I didn't have the sides down, so there was nothing to catch it, except the top, and I had that hooked. So maybe that's the thing. Just keep the sides up so it doesn't catch the wind. Because the people that had their sides down, they had real problems. The jewelers and stuff that had they had to, I don't know, they were not in a good way. They had to take most of their tent. Just, I don't know, it was just kind of a mess for them, but
Take it down.
so maybe they had to hold on to everything because I had a stained glass artist next to me and yeah, her stuff was really swaying. So I guess maybe the tent sides. Don't use them.
It works, just keep doing it until you're proven wrong, just
Experimenting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because every time it's going to be different anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. Okay.
Well, I got my new iPhone yesterday.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Yeah. Why?
You bought a new iPhone?
I didn't
Really?
buy it. No, they're giving them away.
They're giving it away. Who's giving it away?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm paying $15 a month because I got the iPhone 14 Pro, which is $200 more than the iPhone. And I don't know what it's like with the other carriers, but T-Mobile gives you the phone and you get a credit for 2 years, which is fine because I'm going to stick with them anyway because they give you all these other perks like AAA and Netflix, these freebies. So, but it only cost me the $200 in between, what the regular iPhone costs and then the iPhone Pro. I haven't fixed it yet, but it was 2-day air. I thought it was going to take off. I thought it was going to come tomorrow, and then they would send it back, and then I would never. Then I'd have to go through the process again. But I haven't taken it out of the box yet. But because I'm going to do these shows, and I don't necessarily, my old phone is set up for credit cards, and I don't want to get there and go, oh no, there's a problem. But I have it. You all can get them for nothing as long as you keep your provider for the length of the for the 2 years.
I don't plan to do that. I want to keep my phone as it is.
Oh yeah. What do you got?
Last year phone.
Oh well, which one?
Well, it's just this is the 14 now. I guess the 13.
13? Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
The camera's a little better on the 14.
Only
I have
only
an 11.
if you shoot raw.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So Larry, why would you not shoot RAW if it's going to be on the phone? I mean, you can transfer it over to your
Because the
desk.
files are enormous.
Yeah, but you can convert them once you get, you can do more with the RAW.
Well,
How enormous are they? Can't be that enormous.
but who's taking professional pictures with their phone?
I don't know.
I mean,
I know.
I would get it if they gave me the option of having that super large sensor and shooting JPEG,
Well,
but they don't.
why can't, maybe they do.
No, they don't. The only way you get it is by shooting RAW. Otherwise, it's still a 12 megapixel camera.
Oh, but if you shoot RAW and you transfer them, and then you can do whatever you want. You can edit them any way you want.
Yeah, but the phone, the memory of the phone fills up really fast.
Well, that's not the issue. It's not the memory. It's the transferring will take forever. The files, because the files are enormous.
I'm gonna test that one out. I don't believe that, but you're probably right. But I'm gonna test that one out eventually. I'm curious. But what's wrong with 12 megapixels?
It's
Nothing.
not information. You need at least 25. At least
For what?
for any decent size picture.
How about images for for Zap?
I still would think
That's
it would
3 megapixels.
So Larry, I have some really nice pieces that I shouldn't be selling, so I can bring them to you to have them shot.
Okay.
And then that would happen after Nashville. But the problem is I'll probably sell them, which is what always happens. This is what I do.
do you know that don't make any sense what you just say?
I know it doesn't make any sense. It's dumb, but what can I, so the question is, what comes first? The images or the sales? Well,
chicken
in
or
some
the
ways, the
egg?
images are more important but then there's no gear, because you want to have new shots or the best shots for the, for the juring, but sometimes the money's more important. I mean, it's really hard to, figure it out. Of course, the other thing you can do is when you go in Zap, you can change the date of it'll ask for a date of the piece. You can always make it so it's legal. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. That's one of my little secrets.
You should have been saying that even Gasparilla and Wisdom Power will be mad at you.
What's the possibility of somebody from Gasparilla actually doing that? And besides,
No, Gasparilla isn't the problem. Winter Park is the problem.
yeah.
They used
Listen,
to, even in the slide days, they knew if you sent images in that you've used before.
because they keep them.
I don't know. I just heard that they said that one woman on the committee had a really good memory.
Great. And she's probably the one that's the director of Coconut Grove now.
No,
No,
no.
No.
From what I understand, the woman that's the director of Coconut Grove is really artist friendly.
She seemed really nice.
cheers.
I mean, I've spoken to her.
She's really nice. You're gonna say anything bad about. Actually, you're gonna say
No.
anything bad.
I can't say anything bad about her. I like her.
Uh,
She does a
Sure.
good job.
And she's really, if you leave a message, she will return your messages. It's
Yeah.
not like or you call and they don't care.
Last year after the show, when she got all this good publicity, I mean, people were raving about the show, and I made a really positive comment about that and said, "Hey, yeah, I want to come back." And she said, "Oh, somebody." Now, this was really weird. She said, "Somebody as esteemed as you, it means a lot to me." I'm going, huh? I didn't say that, but like esteemed. Come on.
Hey, first time I did Coconut Grove, I did like 16 or 17,000, and I sent flowers to the show office afterwards.
Yeah.
Never got back in.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Well, it wasn't the flowers.
No, I know.
How could you not get back in? You know?
But no,
I love the slide thing because if I really wanted to get into a show, I would send my resume. And since I had won Best of Show in Ceramics at Coconut Grove one year, I actually took a yellow, not only did I send my slides, but I sent a resume and I took yellow marker and
And highlight.
highlighted the
Yeah.
fact that I had won at Coconut Grove. You got to do it. Sometimes you got to do whatever you have to do to get in the show. Outside of bribing them, they might
Did
not
they
like that one.
return,
But
did they return that with your slides or did they throw it away?
well, I hope they. I don't remember, but I hope they threw it away. You know what? You used to get the slides at the show. They would come around and give them to you. So I think that was just in a little pack or something, or how you sent it with the slide things. When you got it mailed back to you, you
Yeah, I
feel
know.
around and you know that when you get your slides back, that
Right,
you got rejected.
right.
You
That sucks. I remember those days.
know? Yeah. Hey, but it's no different now when you get you get a note, you get an email, and you don't even have to open the email because it either says congratulations. If it doesn't say like in the title congratulations or something like that, and the first few words were, we had so many applications, like I don't want to read any further. Except sometimes when they say that, you're on the wait list, so you kind of have to read it anyway. You have to go through the torture of reading it.
Oh,
Now, kiddies, the rest of you kiddies, I want you to think this way. You have to assume that you're getting into the show. No, you can't have any doubts because that'll mess with your karma of getting in. So you have to think in advance you're getting in no matter. And then when you don't get in, then you can uh give them the finger or something. But and say, oh, those judges were horrible. But previous to that, you have to say I'm in the show because that's that otherwise it messes with your karma of getting into the show.
Karma.
My feeling there. So Oscar,
yeah.
are we going to be doing Coconut Grove or are we going to Artie Gras?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm planning to be in Coconut Grove.
So am I. I'm planning it too.
That's
You're
what that. You know, I'm going to tell you that if I don't get in and I do autograph, I'm going to do the shows that I get in. This weekend, I did a show with Amy Amder because didn't get to the plaza. No surprise there. Carmel, Indiana, keep me waitlisted. So I went and did a show with Amy instead, Bert Rich, and I did better than everyone in Carmel.
Did they have a problem in Carmel this weekend?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything.
I thought I read something that the show wasn't laid out and artists had to wait like 5 hours.
Holy wow.
Oh,
And then
oh,
when they let them in, it still wasn't laid out.
oh, I'd be really upset about that.
Yeah, if that's the case, that's really, really bad.
Yeah. Give me my money back. They got to know that we're professionals, and we do this to make money. It's not for them. It's like, oh,
It's
look at how great
entertainment.
we have artists here. Oh, look at us. We're so cool. No, it's a business. We're selling. We have to make money, and we take all the risks. So don't give me that. My other favorite thing that they go is, we're just volunteers. What does that have to do with anything? There's a way to do something, a professional way to do something. If they don't want to pay people because they're too cheap, that still is no excuse for not knowing what you're doing, being prepared. These shows got to be prepared. It's only once a year. It isn't like every week like us. We're going somewhere, or we're working on our pieces and we're packing up and going somewhere. I mean, and then we deliver. We get there with the best stuff. We set it all up and we look really good. Well, maybe not in my case, but you all look really good. And, so all they have to do is be professional about it. Set it up. that being unprepared, that would just like, I would, there'd be, you'd still see steam coming out of my ears. That's terrible.
It happens. It happens.
I don't know.
Starving artist, I think it's done and over, according to what I read something that Bonnie say. The Starving Artist show this year was the last time.
She's not
Yeah.
doing it anymore.
They're not doing it anymore. And I think the lakefront is in the same boat. And I think they're going to do it anymore.
I heard about Lakefront.
Yeah, what happened to what show? Maybe it is the Starving Artist show.
I think that's the one that Bonnie was talking about in Facebook.
Yeah, what happened that they canceled it?
They cancel it. They don't have more volunteers or people to run.
They're tired of all these 70-year-old retired artists that volunteer. I
Those
would
are the only
volunteer
ones
if
who
it
have
was
the
convenient.
time.
What?
Those are the only ones who have the time.
Yeah, but when you're over 70, you could find the time.
I don't
That's
have
why I
any time.
said that the over 70 are the only ones that have the time. You need
I-
people with muscles. Why our temple is getting rid of things like rummage sale, because it takes a lot of
Rummage.
back and core muscles, and we
Yeah,
are
what is
getting those
rummage?
volunteers.
And energy.
Yeah, well, some of them have the energy, but you know, they're risking a heart attack or something.
I've heard that word used so many times. What does rummage really mean?
Yeah, stuff you like go through.
They call it goodwill sale.
I've heard that. I've heard that too.
That's not a West Coast thing. It's either a yard sale, a garage sale.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but,
And Bonnie's show, but
the-
you're talking about the
the churches
one in
that have
Milwaukee or
rummage sales,
Yeah.
parking
You're
lot
not talking-
sale.
yeah, because Bonnie shows the garage, the
Yeah.
garage stuff. And if I don't get into Gasparilla, I'll leave and I'll do Bonnie's show. And I thought about it. You know, I applied to Bonnie's show, and I also applied to Gasparilla, and I thought about it, and I said, I can't pass up a chance of getting some of that $92,000 that they're giving away this year.
Yeah, but based on their past history, it'll all go to one person.
Yeah.
No, it'll all go to minorities because that's that's the way. Every time I do it, that's where it goes.
What
Old
Oh,
white
big-
guys.
what was Gaston's show there? 20,000?
I don't know, between at least 15. Hmm. I could use it.
And anybody can use it.
Yep.
I've never been there when an old white guy got it. Oh, actually, I did, but he wasn't. But we weren't old then. Steve Olszewski won it one year.
There was a female painter that I know they wanted once. And it was like a $50,000.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's considered, that's considered a minority.
What, a female painter?
Yeah, isn't it?
No, I don't know.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I know her. She lives in Kansas City. What's her? I always forget her name. What's her name?
Laura
Who?
Nunez. Laura Nunez.
Yeah, Laura. That's right.
Yep.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, I kind of miss her. I don't know why she stopped doing shows out of town. But she will get into all these shows and really high-end shows, like every dream show you want to be, and she will not make money.
She would not make money, you said.
She will not make money.
Yeah.
She's 0 out in Cherry Creek, I think.
That would be tough. Considering I thought the paint when I did it last, I thought the paintings were not that great, and they were selling 40, 50, 60, $70,000 worth of paintings.
So who knows? Oh,
Tuesday
So when do
on-
we find out about the Grove? November?
2 weeks from now, Barry, on Friday.
2
She
weeks
got
from now? Really?
Yeah, she's going to send the email Friday at 6 p.m. right after she leaves the office, so nobody can return any calls until Monday. Monday off.
Seriously? You know her really well then, huh?
No, I was telling you what Kane does.
Uh-huh. We'll find out.
No, that's what they do. They send it on Friday, 4 or 5, just when they're about to leave the office.
I can wait to call her on Monday because if I get rejected, I'm gonna ask her to let me in anyway.
Oh, come on, she's not gonna tell you. Yeah. It's out of her hands.
Are you kidding? I've gotten into plenty of shows like that.
Oh no, she's going to say, I'm going to protest if that happened. I'm going to say, how you let him? He's the worst potter ever.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Oh,
Look at there's a lot of bad stuff that gets into these shows that are supposedly great, you know?
you know, I just hope to just get in and have a good chance to make money. That's all. I don't think about it. I got like I'm waiting for at least 12 shows to respond. And I just send application for most of the Texas shows already. So we'll see how that goes. So it's all a process.
See, my dream thing is go do Fort Worth, Texas, do Florida, come back, have a successful Florida, work all of most of March, and then go to Fort Worth, okay, and then drive from Fort Worth to Greenville, South Carolina to Mardi Gras.
I feel
Fantastic, huh? Or Artisphere, whatever it is. What
Artisphere.
Artisphere, yeah. That to me would be to do those three would be fantastic. I'd probably take the rest of the summer off, the rest of the year off.
just assuming that you're going to sell a lot.
Yeah.
You can go there and still zero out. You know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm planning on doing all those shows. And hey,
I will be happy if I can do just 2 of them.
yeah, me too. And yeah, you know what? If I get in 2, and you can include Cherry Creek and St. Louis with that, and Belleville and any of the other ones that I can't think of. If I get
Kansas
into
City.
2 out of like the 10 shows,
Kansas
I'm
City,
happy.
Fort
I'm
Worth.
ecstatic.
And Des Moines.
And Des Moines. Although the thing about Des Moines that I like is that it's the way it's run. It's just really well run. I did good, but I didn't do great there. I had a lot of fun.
Well, just that show is really, the problem with those big shows that you have, the competition is really stiff.
But I
Like,
like that.
A lot of really good artists in that show. So
Yeah, I like that. Don't you like that?
Yeah, but
Katie, Annette, don't you like that?
Yeah, I would have liked to see more, at some of the shows I've done, just because I like to go look at stuff too. I would have liked to seen more at the expo that I went to. I didn't have time because I was the only one at my table. So like I said, there were a couple of others that were, I'd say, in the arts business, but they've gone from making to sell to teaching how to make, or having these little sip and craft party or sip and paint party. And the painting booth next to me was doing team building as their
Oh, no.
emphasis. No, they go
Oh,
to corporate
no.
office, and the new engineering department or whatever would get together and make these paintings. And then since everybody participates, supposedly seeing it there on the wall of the hallway to their department somehow makes them feel good. But I didn't get a picture of what they did, but the company name is insideoutartstudios.com if you want to
Oh,
see what it
God.
looks like. But she goes and sets up at corporate offices, brings them, however many canvases they ordered, and there's, like I said, lines on it, and then everybody who's participating chooses whatever color, and then they fill in whatever space. I went over there and I didn't use the space. I made a fingerprinting footprint on it. Went over about 3 lines that way, and it was like, oh, you can do that. So one guy who was a professional artist, that's all he did was fill in the space that was made. It was coloring inside the lines and stuff. And he's an illustrator. He does ads, and right now he's doing NFTs. But
Oh, God.
hey, he's being paid to make them. But he did a whole series of things for different rock stars and so on. Pen and ink portraited.
Well, after Bitcoin's tanks, which is inevitable and it's going to happen because it's based on using up energy and nothing more. NFTs are soon behind that.
Well, like I said, he's getting paid, so he looks like I don't know how old he is, but his hair is whiter than yours.
Hey, that's not possible. Look at this.
He just had heart surgery.
My heart's doing really well though, too. So
Well, he
Hey,
looked pretty robust for somebody who had heart surgery the day before.
hey, I got a question. How many in this group got COVID?
I had a positive test. No
That would mean
symptoms.
you had COVID. Was it a false positive or a real positive?
No, it was just as real as you can get.
So you're the only one, huh?
Well, my husband did, but that's only I know of other people who got it and were sick. I probably got it on the trolley during Comic-Con. Everybody at Comic-Con was masked and distanced, so
Really?
I don't think it was there. And people who drove their own cars back and forth, unless they went to the parties that were out in town, didn't seem to have a problem.
Yeah, I never got it. And I actually I did a test or two, and not even a sniff of anything, not even a doubt on that test. But we take all these chances.
Yeah, I know.
And so the possibility of getting it is greater than not getting it, and I just never got it.
The things you have to think about it, you're outside while I'm doing the shows. The other thing that I do is like I don't stand inside the tent. I stay outside when people are in the tent. I try to keep my distance from people. And I try to put fans in the moving the air inside no matter what. So chances of you getting in an actual outdoor show is kind of slim, Only you start stupid things.
The last show we used fans that blew toward the from the inside to the outside, took all the germs out, we did okay.
Yeah, that's what I got mine in the top blowing air, so it goes out from the somehow. But you have to have the air moving. If not, you're taking a chance. Especially when you go to places that the vaccine rate is low. So
Well, Comic-Con was worried about all that kind of stuff, because they didn't want to get shut down. Or, the city decided to shut everything down again, and you had to get a wristband, you had to have proof of being vaccinated or a negative test within, I think, 72 hours.
we're just gonna stop.
And then anything inside, you had to wear a mask.
You're on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Midwest, it would be like, what COVID?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore here.
It's only in the blue states.
Hey, they don't even do that here in Chicago anymore. So it's the conventions all the time. The only thing that it's a suggestion to wear a mask, but nobody's telling you have to wear a mask. The only time you have to wear a mask in here is mandatory is when you go to the doctor's office.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
They just announced today you don't even have to do that.
Well, it depends on the doctor.
Well, yeah, but it's
There'll
not
be a
mandatory
sign.
anymore.
That would be awesome because I was getting tired every time I go to the chiropractor to put a stupid mask. But
Not required here, but businesses can require. So private whatevers can require it.
yeah. And if you don't like it, go shop someplace else.
Yeah. I know for the Comic-Con Museum, they require the staff to wear masks, but they're not requiring visitors to wear one. So
I still wear
seems to be
masks when I
standard
go
in a lot of
indoors.
places.
I never do. I don't even think about it anymore.
Well, you know what? I worry when I go to a place that I know it's going to be packed. Because I don't
They said it also last year, it kept the flu down too.
yeah.
Incident of flu.
I got a flu shot too.
Yeah, but even, in general, the number of flu cases were way down compared to pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? They're in the same family loosely, and there are labs, research labs, working on trying to cure all those COVID-related viruses. And sooner or later, they'll have that together. Somebody will come up with the solution. Like everything else. Then it's just a matter of getting the shot. Like, do you realize like polio was pretty much wiped out until people stopped getting a polio shot?
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
suddenly
not
it
even a
shows
shot
up.
anymore. It's a little drop on your tongue.
I think we had a drop on a sugar cube.
I had the shot
was
when they first
acid.
came out. I had the drop on the sugar cube, and then in boot camp we got another one. It was a little plastic tube that was pinched off at both ends with some sort of heat seal, and inside was a liquid. And you had to
Yeah.
they snip off the top, and you'd have to squeeze it in your mouth and swallow. It was obviously raised in eggs because it did have a sort of an eggy taste to it. And that was one of the questions they asked you: are you allergic to eggs? If you were, then you got a shot. but,
Yeah, Larry, I vaguely have an image of my mother taking me to the elementary school gym, and there was a line, and you got your sugar cube with the polio vaccine on it, and that's how
Yeah. I
you
don't
got it.
remember. I thought it was on your arm.
Yeah, what's the one that left a mark on your arm? I thought that was polio.
that was
Right.
smallpox.
That was your shots. Um, your booster shots and stuff when you get when you're a kid.
No, it left a mark on your arm. I have like a scar on my arm, like the size of a dime.
That's smallpox.
That's smallpox.
Yeah,
Oh.
they don't give those out anymore.
Hmm.
Although now they're saying that people who got that are probably pretty much immune to monkeypox, which is
That's
going
good.
around
Wait,
here.
wait, I didn't hear the first part of that. What do you?
People that had had the smallpox vaccines are
Uh-huh.
pretty much immune to the monkeypox that's going around.
Great.
The pox virus, but it's not the same as smallpox.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my mother took me to the vet to get all my shots. So
Okay, one more question about art fair. So I was looking at Fort Worth, but I was also looking at Four Bridges the same weekend. Is that in Chattanooga? Is that, I forgot if we talked about that.
No,
Probably-
one
Fort
show
Bridges-
is a Lamborghini and one show is a
Right.
Volkswagen, and it's up to
Right.
you to tell me which one is which.
Okay,
Hi,
Well,
Allison.
figured that. I was
Hi
just
there.
Hi, Allison.
I misjudged timing. Got very involved with tiny little pieces. So I hope everyone's doing well today.
Excuses, excuses, excuses.
Happy,
Well,
New
no,
Year.
it's raining here.
Happy
You
New
would-
Year.
raining. It's raining here too.
Oh, send some over.
Could be worse. You could be in Florida.
Uh, well, I wouldn't mind taking the edge off of that.
They keep showing pictures of the cars on the interstate leaving Florida.
Yeah.
Has the storm hit yet, or it's still too
No,
early?
it's not going to hit till like Wednesday.
Wednesday
Uh-huh.
afternoon.
That's tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I wish that Mother Nature would try from the other side of Florida.
You know,
Yeah.
the most funny thing that happened today about that, my chiropractor, when I sign out, is in Florida, in Orlando, Florida. They sent me an email and they're going to be open tomorrow from 10 to 3. And then they're going to close for the next 2 days.
Uh-huh.
Like, seriously, who's going to go to the chiropractor in the day of the storm?
I don't know. Didn't they cancel the January 6th hearings tomorrow?
They did, yes.
Okay, because I
Postponed,
saw
postponed.
advertisements for it. On the same channel that they said they canceled it. They're still running commercials for it.
And
Well-
they're charging for the commercials.
Right.
So maybe they're not all in sync.
Well, no, once they canceled it, they should have pulled their ads.
No, they can
Right.
reap money.
They could what?
They can get money for every time they've aired it.
Well, no, I'm saying that the January 6th committee should have pulled the ads.
Maybe
Not
it's too.
not the radio, not the TV station. Unless there was like a 24-hour, clause that you can't cancel anything within 24 hours.
I think that's what it is. 'Cause it's too close to cancel it, But who knows?
Well, usually there's a natural disaster type clause that, if the city is shut down, then you don't have, the contract can be canceled without penalty.
So what's everyone applying to?
I'm applying to everything in the sun.
Uh-huh. I don't have any applications open yet, well, except for Smithsonian.
How come you don't go to Florida?
No,
Well, you're too late. Apply it to Texas shows then.
Allison, didn't I see you in Coconut Grove once or twice?
never. I've never been
Never.
there.
Okay, so it was your doppelganger.
No, I
Huh.
doubt.
Funny to think I have a doppelganger, but yeah, no, I've never done Florida shows.
I just made that up.
Okay. Okay. But
The evil twin.
There are some shows to apply to.
You can apply. I apply to all those Texas shows if I was you, Allison.
Well,
no,
there's Fort Worth.
it would just piss me off being in Texas, frankly.
Why?
Well, Texas,
not-
and Florida, everybody should boycott those two states.
Right.
Uh, Hell
The
no.
Hey, the problem is those are two good selling states for us, I'm
That's right.
boycotting Wisconsin.
Well,
For no-
it's easy to boycott, I guess, now, right? I mean, so many shows have gone by the wayside, is what I mean to say.
That's good.
And Lakefront is not there anymore, which is disappointing. Scottsdale, I'm disappointed that's not happening. But as far as Texas, I've done Fort Worth and it was just never great for me. It was like a lot of work and not that great. But as far as Texas goes, this is what I got in the mail today from a friend.
I'll make sure that I stay out of your womb.
All right, thank you. Tell the Supreme Court to do so too. But this year I only did I did 4 shows, and then open studios and other business, just people coming into the studio because they're in town, and that's actually
You're cut off.
Yeah, you cut off.
My AirPod died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my AirPods. So last year I did 3 shows. Well, that was because of COVID and the rollovers, but this year I did 4 shows, and they were all good. Some were better than others. But I get a lot of residual sales after the fact, and I count on meeting people and having them sign my mailing list. And along with everything else, it seems like for me that's enough. You never, of course, know from year to year, but now I have open studios coming up. And, I continually send emails every month. So I've got people from across the country who stop in Santa Fe and they can come to my studio, and if I'm just making one sale, there's no expenses, it's just somebody coming to my studio. I'm here working anyway. So
Yeah.
it's been interesting. And of course, going forward, I don't know what's going to happen, but for right now, that's been working out. Of course, I'll apply to everything I want to apply to because, you don't know what you're going to get into. I was very lucky with wait lists this year.
Mhm.
And I know at St. Louis, a lot of people canceled last minute, and my booth neighbor, so I got into St. Louis 3 weeks before the show. My booth neighbor had canceled the day of setup. And I don't know why, but I think more people are, I don't know if they're getting sick or what, but people cancel because they get sick at the last minute. And so thankfully that's worked out. But doing less shows for me is okay if it works out that I'm doing well at the show, but I'm also making sales at other
Mhm.
times. Now, of course, with the stock market going down and the psychology of the idea of recession, it puts a bummer on things, because I think people eventually get the mentality, even if they have income, they might get the mentality, oh, I'm just going to wait. Maybe now is not a good time to buy. So I am concerned about the fall. Anyone else have thoughts about that?
Yes.
Well, I cannot tell you anything because I don't do shows in the falls. I know the installations have slowed down considerably.
The what? Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
I don't doing that many hanging. I'm still doing 20 hours a week, but I'm not hitting the 30s like I
And
used to.
do you think, I mean, at other years, has the fall been busy for you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Hmm.
I don't know if that's indicative of anything. It just could just be that that's the way it is this year, Oscar, that you have less customers.
no, I
Um,
know. I start getting leads here and there now again. So we see what happens. It's still like I keep thinking this October, and it's
Uh-huh.
just so. If it was October and it was like this, how we panic. In September, it's always slow.
But and also, don't you think like there's certain ebbs and flows just with
Mhm.
everything?
That's what I was saying.
Um, yeah. So,
You know, having had a gallery, just
mhm.
understanding it from that point of view, September was always it was the worst month.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's the most dead. And October isn't so great either because it carries over. And then in November, because holiday sales, it starts in November, and November, December are good. You throw you have a sale in January, or even at the end. Look at the last week between Christmas and New Year's, we would have a sale, and it
Uh-huh.
would bring people in, because they would return their crummy thing that they got from somebody and take the money and come over and buy.
Mhm.
January was sort of slow because it's January, but then February would be Valentine's, and you'd have guys coming into the gallery buying jewelry for their wives.
Mhm.
Um, so you'd have that, and then March and April, it'd start to take off again, or not greatly, but then because of Mother's Day and all that,
Right.
and then you got the wedding season, and then just people buying stuff for their homes.
There's such a psychology though also. I mean, of course there's so much strife in the world and and then I don't know. So I just I'm feeling a little cautious, but of course all we could do is keep trying, right, to put ourselves out there.
Well, I got to say some. Again, the same, and I know that people say that's kind of weird to say, but you have to think about it this way. Also, the people that spend money with us, uh, they're
Yeah.
really in the pinch.
Pardon?
The people that spend money with us,
Mm-hmm.
they're not feeling the pinch.
Right. No, I understand that.
So
Um,
don't, don't, because it has to be. It depends on who's your buyers. Like my buyers are between 30 and 50, and all those people have stable jobs where they're making decent money. So it's not a concern to them. So about money.
mhm.
So just keep that in mind. Just always have to keep that in mind.
Right. But there's the psychology of it also. I mean, um, and it's true if people have jobs and they have income but if they've seen their 401k go down, then they might react and say, "Oh, I better just tighten my wallet now." But I
I know.
get you're talking about people who aren't worried about their 401k. Though I do get that.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and those are the people that usually buy our work.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what you have to know who's your buyers. If your buyers are the older crowd, then you have to be concerned.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of my buyers are definitely they're retired, kids are out of the house. Um, so
Yeah, jewelry is a different animal than, let's say, ceramics. The
mhm,
clay. How many pieces are you going to buy? Now I have collectors. I have people that buy a lot of work, but
mhm,
not enough of them. But with jewelry, every woman does. They have more than one pair of earrings, and they're
right.
continually either losing them or buying more.
Mhm,
So your sales, if you have X amount of customers that buy one at you once, they like your style, so they're going to come to you again.
yeah.
So
Well,
you know,
but it's a price point issue. My work is not inexpensive. So,
Well,
which is why for me, collecting names for the mailing list is so important, because even if somebody could afford it, often, like I do the local artist market, and there were people who were seriously interested in, I have a bracelet that's like $6,200. And,
mhm.
people have tried it on and, take pictures and this and that. And, you know, hopefully one of those things will come through, but it could be, if I still have it, by the holidays, maybe somebody will come through or not. But, you never know. But once they're not in front of you, also, it's the fever is gone. There's, I think something about just being present
I need to
and,
next week.
what?
I live in
Oh, Oscar was going. So, hey, Allison, what
Mhm.
if you offered a somewhat of a little discount? What would you feel comfortable doing?
Okay, so I tried a few things with Artist Intersection, which is an online, it's a website, but they don't sell it, you do. It goes through you. And sales, just people are not inspired to buy my work on sale. And the last time I did it,
No, no, that isn't what I'm talking. It is
okay.
what I'm talking about, but it's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is the people that have seen that and you have their, I'm assuming they're on your mailing list, so you have
Hmm.
their, if you sent out, let's say, okay, 6,200, so you offer them $500 off,
I, I
just send,
couldn't I
you
couldn't for
could,
the bracelets.
oh,
Yeah. So here's the thing I was thinking. I did recently raise, this year I raised the price on the bracelets.
mhm,
And I realized I could never wholesale those bracelets. Could never get 3,000. It's just so much work. And I don't want to raise the price, but um I realize I'm really not charging, like if they take about 4 months to make if I get an order. But if I only spent my year making them, then it wouldn't be enough money to live on. So I'm really not charging enough for them. And so I could never give a discount on that. What I do offer, like when I meet people at a show, afterwards I send an email out thanking them for visiting my booth, and I give them a code for free shipping. Um,
mhm.
so,
Yeah,
but it doesn't seem to be incentive somehow for my work. Anything like that I've tried,
yeah, because
which
they
is
expect, sometimes they expect free shipping anyway, so,
right. No, but I
but
mean, any discounts or look, I had a customer at St. Louis. She bought a pair of earrings and she contacted me. She said, I think you made a mistake. Both the stones are different. And so I emailed her and I said, well, actually it's by design. Yes, the stones are different. And if you want to change them out, that's fine. And she reacted well because my response was pretty much, I'll take care of it.
mhm.
And she ended up spending $800 more on a pair
Yeah.
of gold earrings. So, um, I don't know. Discounts don't seem to encourage people to buy my work.
Well, yeah, I was just saying, I was just thinking, maybe you'd sell without knowing, how much work goes into it, how much time and stuff like that. I was just thinking,
Yeah.
if you targeted those people,
Hmm.
and I was reacting to how you said it about they
Okay.
tried on the
Yeah.
ring and they really and so I was thinking, if you isolated those people and send them that picture one at a time, you might sell four or five of them just because you're giving a little off because there's something about it that stopped them from buying it. And you
Right.
don't know what it is.
You're right. And
You,
by the way, I only have two to sell. Like I don't have
oh,
four or five, but that's okay. I
okay.
could make them. But yeah,
That's what I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Is it a pain in the butt to make them? I mean,
no,
4 months is a long time.
they just no, and 4 months allows me the time to make it and think about where I'm going to put the stones. I'm not just sitting and making that exclusive, I have all the other things I have to do.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, that's interesting. It's like I sometimes I think if somebody else was here in my booth who's like a real salesperson, you know, I wonder if they could have made the sale. And this one particular couple from Tucson, I mean, she tried it on
Mhm.
and she loved it, and then she brought her husband back and tried it on again, and I have, you know, their email, but I think no matter how much money some people have, they're not ready to spend $6,200, even if it's nothing to them. I mean, you know, I think people who have that kind of money are not necessarily, you know, just spending things. So at a craft fair, people come to the craft fair, okay, I'm going to buy something at the show, where this is the local artist market. And
Mhm.
these people are not expecting
Mhm.
to there's the farmers market, and then you walk a little farther down, then there's the artist market. So they're separate,
Mhm.
but it's
Mhm.
not like they're going to a craft show. It's a different, I think it's a different psychology. So it's very serendipitous that they're walking
Mhm.
past me. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, go
but
ahead.
the attitude is, well, let's go there because if I see something I really, they're not saying this, but they're thinking, you know, we're going here. Maybe I'll see something I really, really can't live without.
So I think at a craft fair, it's like that, but at this artist market, I think they go to the farmer's market and they say, oh, what's down there? And then
Oh,
they go to the
okay.
artist market. So I think
Yeah.
it's more serendipitous. You know,
Yeah.
I've met local people, you know, and they've said, oh, you must be new here, because they know who comes
Yeah.
to the market. And I don't do it's every Saturday. I don't do it every Saturday. But you know, and I don't think people are generally selling that price point at that market, which is
No.
why I figure if I could get them to my studio, then so yeah, I don't know. I wonder. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing sales. I mean, I'm an okay salesperson. Eric is pretty good. But you know, some people just really know how to do it. And I know I can't be too pushy either. That would turn somebody off from me doing it because it's not authentic. So um I don't know. I mean, you know, it's possible that somebody who saw it might buy it this year, but they don't have this fear of what if she sells it, because they're all one of a kind. Um, and that would be nice to be able to evoke that, you know, once this is sold, I can make another one, but it'll never be exactly this, you know, there's no way, because all the stones are one of a kind.
Yeah, and it could be better. I'll make you an even better one.
Right.
For the
Actually,
same price.
the first time I did Cherry Creek, when I was setting up, this woman looked at a bracelet I had and she loved it, and she visited it like 8 times. Somebody else finally bought it. She comes back with her husband, and you know, I said, oh, I sold it, and he said, you could have whatever you want in her booth. I said, I could make you one, you know,
Yeah.
and I said, and it's an enjoyable process, and I could, you know, and since then, you know, I've seen her over the years, and she's on my mailing list, but she never bought anything from me. It was like that was it, and
Really?
yeah, but you know, so maybe she was never going to buy it anyway.
You know, it's interesting. It's the person. Well, she wanted her husband to talk her into it and or to buy it for her or something. You don't,
Right,
you don't know. But
right.
that's really interesting because I would always think that, hey, somebody's going to make me something special. The one I
Yeah,
looked at sold, but they're going to make me something special for me. That's
which
how I would look at it.
and
You know, it's
some people love it. The woman who bought the earrings, the
yeah,
mismatched stones,
yeah.
she told me when we had a little back and forth, but she was pretty decisive, you know, as far as what she wanted. And she said, "Oh, this was so much fun." And so a lot of people do like that, you know, and you know, so I don't know. I mean, she lives right in the neighborhood in Cherry Creek, and she just never ended up buying anything from me. So go figure.
So next time you could say, "Hey, now's the time. Now's you pay you." Well, I'm gonna say this not as delicately as you should probably say it, but hey, you bailed on me for the last 5 years, and
Mhm.
I made this piece specially because I knew you were going to come by.
Mhm. It
You
was
know,
more than 5 years ago, but yeah, it was a long time ago.
yeah, but
Um,
you still see her, so you
yeah,
know.
and I could see she looks at my website. Um, I
And she
mean,
won't pull the trigger.
right. So
Yeah.
what do the rest of you think regarding sales and you know, people like not sure if they're going to buy it. I'd love to hear what other people think just in general.
Well, I have a easier time selling somebody else's stuff than my own.
That makes sense.
So,
Yeah, because you
'cause
don't have
I
anything
worked
invested
at,
in it.
you know, small retail type shops, boutique type things, and
Mhm.
didn't have a problem talking up stuff that was in there that I liked particularly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
On my
that
own,
makes
it's
sense.
like, oh, I can see that mistake, and oh, that should have been something different, and so on.
Right. We're all very critical of our own work.
So
It's
the
hard.
idea is pretend that it's not yours.
Mhm.
You're just
Well,
there selling the work.
but I have
for-
Eric in the booth too, and he's good, and he could say things that I can't.
There's some kind of truth to some of this. I had a helper. I had somebody come and sell at in Florida at a couple of shows, and it was difficult for me because I'm so used to doing everything myself. It's like I don't want that. I don't want somebody else in there talking about the work. It's me. But
Mhm.
it's I got used to it, you know.
Uh-huh.
But what actually happened was she made sales that I would not have been able to close.
Right.
She's really good salesperson. So there is some truth to that,
Right.
that
Yeah.
there are people that can do it. They're like, they'll say things like I feel foolish saying, and she'll
Yes.
just go right ahead,
That's right.
be aggressive or whatever it is. She would
Yeah.
even stop people that were walking by that weren't even looking, and she would, hey, do you know what this is? And then she'd go into this this whole speech about what I do, and
Uh-huh.
I'd be, it's kind of embarrassed,
Mhm.
but I had to lay back because I asked her to come and help me, and I figured, well, this is what happens, when you have a helper, and this is
Mhm.
what they do. So so I was kind of cool about it. And I had to admit that I did better than I would have done if I was on my own, because she was really
Uh-huh.
good.
Right. Right.
So that does exist, and I think I'm a really good salesperson.
Uh-huh.
So,
And
Allison, you don't do any wholesale, or you?
so here and there I have uh I mean, I'm on Artful Home, and I was in a gallery for a while in Cleveland, and before
What
the
gallery?
pandemic she did it's called the W Gallery. It's mostly jewelry. And she before the pandemic she was doing very well, and
Yeah.
she's a wonderful business person. She's like
Uh-huh.
30, maybe she's 31 now, and just like really such a great business person, and um paid on time always. But after the pandemic, I know she got some lower price points in, and my work wasn't selling. And so after a good period of time, I emailed her and she agreed. And so we're now taking a break. I really liked working with her, but nothing sold for like 10 months. And
Okay. Where's the
I could just
gallery? What
it
street?
it's downtown. There is a building that is like one of those Parisian arcades.
So it's called the Arcade, I think, or no, it's
Oh,
called the Tower Center.
mm,
Not that one, or the
I don't
Arcade.
I don't know. I could look it up.
Yeah,
Let me
I've been to all
just
these places. That's why I'm asking.
oh,
She's just not connecting with the people that would buy her work because they exist in Cleveland. Cleveland is where our gallery was, and half our sales was jewelry. And we'd always get guys in buying really nice. They wouldn't buy cheap stuff. They'd buy nice stuff for their wives. I can't hear you. You're muted. I can see your lips move, but I can't hear you.
Who?
Allison, we
What?
can't hear you.
You're muted. Allison, we can't hear you.
And she's apparently she can't hear us either because
Right.
she's, you know.
Hold up a sign.
I don't have one.
Oh no. It's 5:19.
Why, you're late for an appointment?
No, but I have to pack I gotta leave early in the morning. I got 800 miles to go. And the only reason why I'm leaving in the morning is because I couldn't get ready in time. So I'm driving tomorrow. I have a 3 o'clock setup on Thursday. So
Oops.
I want to make sure that I'm all packed up and just get in my van and
Where,
leave to
where are you going?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh. Oh, St. James is this week?
Yeah.
Ah,
I was gonna say, there was a book somebody turned me on to about 25 years ago about why artists don't want to sell their work because they become too attached to it.
It's not my case. It's not my. I can't wait to get rid of it. What do you mean?
Well, otherwise it becomes a storage problem, right?
not
Well,
as much with jewelry though, but
she's back.
yeah, I don't know what happened to I couldn't hear
We
you
didn't hear
actually.
you for about, well, the last several minutes.
Right,
Yeah, you were talking. We could see your lips move,
right.
and you're looking down at your work, so you couldn't see us waving and doing all this
That's
stuff.
right. That's right. Yeah. I don't know what happened with my
So happy
AirPods.
New Year, Allison
Thank you to you as well.
and Barry.
Yeah, and Frank's not here. Of course, I think he said he wasn't going to be.
No, he
That's
said he
right.
was.
You said he was? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
right. It's next week that he's not going to be here.
so- Well, maybe his synagogue found something for him that he needed to do.
Wait a minute. This is 4 Jews in a room? Oh my God.
Yes.
Well, Happy New Year.
Well, I'm not, but I'll celebrate it anyway.
Okay, Happy
Common
New Year.
granite tree full of fruit. So
Not that any of us are religious in any way, but
Right, right.
it's a cultural thing.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, I call it a 2-day-a-year Jew.
well, there's at least one high holy day every month, it seems. So
Really?
That's true.
There is? There's not.
it seems that way.
There are a lot of holidays.
Yeah.
My aunt was Orthodox, so
Really?
yeah. So I know.
I was conservative.
I was a Hebrew school dropout.
Uh-oh. I got my bar mitzvah, so
Hey, I saw that movie. I was a Hebrew school dropout.
Oh, right, right.
Wasn't that a song from Greece?
Oh, that's very funny. It kind of was. So
see
I
what
could say,
happens when you don't get into St. Louis and Cherry Creek in the same year. You have to do Louisville and Nashville.
well, both St. Louis and Cherry Creek both were wait lists. I was lucky.
Yeah, I'd take it. You know
Yeah,
what?
well,
I knew that St. Louis was going to have people, not show up. There were going to be a number of last minute cancellations, and I just didn't have the work. I was going to call and say, "Look,
Mhm.
I'm available. I've done it before." I've done
Yeah.
I've done it before, so it isn't like I'm not qualified to do it. But I just didn't have the work. But I did think
Right.
about it.
Well, I did email Sarah, the director, like a month ahead of time. I said I'm still, up for going, and
Oh
that
yeah, you have to do that.
she said that made a difference. I have
Really?
to say, yeah, because she felt bad calling somebody at the last minute. And she called me about 3 weeks ahead of time, and she's just wonderful. I mean, and she even called me. I had to ask her if there's going to be water. I have water weights. And the day before I was leaving, and she must have been so busy, she called me to say there is going to be water right near your booth, and da da.
Mhm.
So the organization of the show was really amazing. And she took care of some issues also, and but the buying energy, like, I don't know if anybody had a really great show. But I mean, for me, it was good, and I'll see, what else comes in. But it definitely, there was a good crowd there, and people
Mhm.
were interested and engaging. But a
Mhm.
lot of people I talked to said, so, the show can only do so much. They can't make people buy.
No, but you know what? I appreciate when they bring the customers, when they bring the
Yeah,
people that you can
right.
talk to. Then it's up to me to get them to, to buy the work.
But there was something in the air. It just, the buying energy was like,
Maybe that was one of the weeks when they thought that all the Trumpies were going to get elected. Not so much now. I think it's actually, in fact, we can thank them for putting these people on the Supreme Court and making people really get active about these really horrific things that they want to do.
right.
It's got to be
I've
stopped.
I've been listening to Michael Moore, and he's very pissed at the media because they're saying, oh, the Republicans always win at the midterms. And he said, for the next 43, 44 days, I'm going to post every single day, and I'm going to tell you what I think the truth rather. And, he gave examples of where, like, during the 2016 election, the media would put pictures of Hillary on and say she has an 85% chance of winning. And he thinks that got people to not vote. So anyway,
That isn't what killed her vote. And okay, first of all, I can't listen to Michael Moore anymore because he's gone off the edge. He's way beyond reality.
oh,
Number
I love listening to him.
Yeah, well, he used to be factually correct. Now he's just a blowhard. Sorry, but that's how I feel. And that doesn't make me a Republican. I just want you to know. Secondly, it that wasn't it. Wait, what was the thing? That wasn't it at all. That isn't what. Oh, the Hillary. It was James Comey. In fact, we can blame him for the way it is now because Comey came out. She had a double digit lead 2 weeks before, and Comey came out and said, "Oh, we found emails, on somebody's computer attributed to Hillary," and that dumped her. That turned the tide. It's his fault. And then he had the audacity that after the election to say, "Oh well, we weren't right. We're sorry about that." That's what it was. I mean, I can't believe it.
You're right.
That is it. And then that led to Trump getting elected, and then all these people emboldened, and then Trump bullying the Republicans that actually, I might not agree with their policies, but at least they had some brains. They were intelligent.
Mhm.
They had a modicum of compassion. They're all gone. They all got bullied out. They won't, which actually shows you their conviction. Instead of staying and fighting like Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, they're all leaving, and then there's a whole trail of them that
Well,
left.
Cheney was kicked out. So there's that.
Well, she was kicked out by the ones in power. So the idea is to fight those, fight those Republicans,
Well, I
just
think
stand up
she, I
to
think
them,
she is. I think she is fighting them now.
sort of.
But yeah, we live in bizarre world. And it just, and now in Italy with this fascist, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
blaming George Soros. It's so
listen,
disturbing.
blaming George Soros is just like blaming the Koch brothers, except there's some legitimacy to the Koch brothers
Well,
getting blamed.
or it might be like blaming the Rothschilds. I mean, blaming George Soros, it's basically an identifier of, you know, anti-Semitism. It could be argued. I think it
Oh,
might be
for
different
sure.
than the Koch brothers.
They're all anti-Semites, no matter what they say.
Right. Right.
That's my feeling.
Well, it's kind of the default for scapegoating groups,
Oh,
it seems.
did anybody see the PBS 3-part special, the Burns?
Not yet. Not
It's
yet.
it's great. You got to. I think everybody should see it. Actually, I think
I-
non-Jews should see it more than Jews, because at least for me, I know all this stuff. I've seen these pictures. I knew what happened.
Right.
But the idea to put yourself, I don't think people understand if they put themselves in Germany, in Berlin, having a house or an apartment in Berlin, and actually, going through it. It's just the whole Nazi thing is just sort of it's not personal. They don't understand how horrific it was for those people.
But they remember they didn't treat the people as human. They didn't see them as humans. I mean, I think that soldiers in war don't see their enemies as humans also.
Yeah,
So
except you listen, you couldn't do this without the general complacency of the whole population, or most of it. So you're telling, and
right.
rightly so, the whole population was insane. I mean, come on, they got to know it's wrong when you're dragging somebody in the street or shooting them and leaving them on the street. That isn't wrong. Come on, it
So
doesn't matter what you are.
do you remember the Charlie Chaplin movie, The Great
Yeah,
Dictator? It was,
yeah,
I think maybe it came out in 1938. But
yeah.
Charlie Chaplin didn't have any inside information. And so people in this country knew too,
Well, yeah. Well,
by then.
yeah, yes, and you just have to see this. You just have to
I
see the 3
will.
parts. It's
I
great. It's
will.
really great. I think
But
it's his best one.
in the
Huh?
meantime, I'm watching Chef's Table. It's about pizza. So, and they have like 6 different episodes, and it's all about pizza, which is, I think, one of the best foods in the world.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that. I got on the scale. I had been I usually eat a certain way. But I have my moments. I love ice cream and potato chips and scones. And so I was eating scones every morning with coffee, and then Walgreens has this deal 2 for 1, so I'd get 2 bags of potato chips and 2 things of ice cream, and I did this for like a couple months. So my friends came up to run in a marathon, and they brought a scale with them, and I stepped on the scale and I went, "Oh my God, I gained 14 pounds back that I had lost." It took me 2 years to lose that. So
Wow. There's a lot
I've
of
cut out
calories in scones.
I've cut out so I immediately cut out ice cream, potato chips, and scones, and it wasn't hard to do, because every time I think about it, it's like I lose my appetite. I can't eat that stuff. So pizza's in that group too. I can't eat pizza,
Got
and I
it.
bought a scale. I bought a scale so that
There you go.
I could weigh myself. I don't want to weigh myself every day, because you can look. It's like the stock market. You can look at it every day. Oh, it's up. Oh, it's down. So maybe once a week I get on the scale. So my
Mhm.
goal is to get back to at least where I was last year when I went to have my checkup, and that'll be around December 1st. So my goal is to lose, and I've already lost 5 pounds. So my goal is to lose another 10 pounds and then get and then lose from there.
Well, it sounds like, it sounds like the cause, so you know the solution. It's usually not so easy.
Pizza.
It's and processed food and no
But
carbs.
see, we're making our own pizza though.
What
So
difference
it's a
does
little
it make?
It makes it harder.
Yeah, you eat more because it's better. Tastes
Well,
better.
no, because it's like
that-
one pie that's not that big, and
You
you know,
can smell
but
it while you're cooking. Increase your appetite.
No, I love pizza and a salad. It's
So do
one of my
I.
favorite meals.
Yeah,
So
me
the
too.
idea in the future though is, maybe have a scone, but maybe not as often, that kind
You
of
mean
thing.
not every day,
Yeah,
and
not every
and
day.
and only get one instead of two.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, but if you get them at Costco, you have to buy the 12 pack.
oh no, no
Yeah, but you don't buy
Costco's.
them at Costco.
I get them fresh. We have a great bakery. I get it fresh. Hey, one of the things that helps is the fish markets right across the street, and they bring the fish in. I'm on Lake Superior, and they catch the fish and they
Oh,
bring it in, and they're filleting them at noon. So that it was live like earlier in the day. So it's just, and I love whitefish, and so I get whitefish fillets,
that's great.
fresh.
What is
And I
that fish called they have there? I forget the name of
what
the type of fish that you have there from Lake Superior.
whitefish,
No, there's
lake
some name
trout,
to it.
lake
Salt
trout,
the fish.
walleye. There's walleye.
Walleye, maybe that's it. And it's
Yeah,
like exclusive to that area, isn't it?
walleye's okay. Well, whitefish is I think exclusive to the area.
Uh,
Oh no, it's not, but it's not.
My husband was butchering tuna on Sunday and yesterday. That
Yeah,
somebody brought in from one of the sporting boats.
yeah. See, that's one of the best things about living in California and Florida and anywhere near water. The fish, the fresh fish, and fish is good for you. So,
Well, I'm allergic, so
are you?
yeah, and there's a warning sign stickers on all the, swordfish, tuna,
Mhm.
albacore, whatever. That's a Proposition 65 warning
Really?
because of the
mercury, right?
mercury,
Mhm.
PFACs.
I know
Couple
certain
other
certain
things.
certain fish isn't so safe to eat. Smaller fish,
Tuna
they say
are
are safe.
apex
It
predators.
depends.
So
Yeah. Um, but yeah, smaller fish are in Berkeley, we had such a great fish market. The sardines were the size of trout. I mean, it was amazing. I'd spend like $1.80 on sardines and have this big meal. But here, we're landlocked, but there's a salmon fisherman at one of the farmers markets in Albuquerque, and he used to be a fisherman actually in Alaska. So he gets fish. It's frozen at sea in Alaska, and
Great.
so I was able to buy
Salmon.
a quantity from him, and so I have wild salmon in the freezer, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
And even when I bought it from him at the farmer's market, he sent me with dry ice so it wouldn't unfreeze. And so that's a nice resource. But seafood, I mean, they fly in like to Whole Foods, they fly in seafood, but it's just um they fly it in every day, but they charge like per clam instead of getting like a pound of clams or something like that. Because every once in a while, I like to have something like that. But
Yeah.
certain things I just won't have unless I'm in the region, or But anyway,
the Chinese market here has live fish. You can choose your victim.
uh-huh. So that's
They net it out and whack, 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 whack.
well, that's always nice to be able to do. But anyway, that whitefish sounds great too.
Doing this.
Yeah. The only thing we don't have here is this really good sushi. And there's no Chinese restaurants.
Yeah, we
And the hall hasn't made it out there?
We have great Thai though.
there's not much Asian food here too. I mean, we have a good Thai food truck. Um, but there's just, I've always lived in larger cities and so, but on the other hand, there's there's great produce, and if you eat
Mhm.
meat, there's lots of natural meats and a lot of mushrooms this year because of all the rain. So there's plenty of good food. It's just, certain things you can't really get as much. So when I go to Berkeley, I'm gonna be teaching, and one of my favorite Chinese restaurants, I'm definitely gonna go to. Although I don't know if you've all noticed, but eating out is so expensive now. I mean, everything since
Oh,
COVID has
please,
gone
it's
up.
ridiculous.
I
But
know.
I
Yeah,
understand it.
you know, um, here the same meal in Florida, in Sarasota. Then I don't know about the rest, but Sarasota was 2.5 times what it is here. So there was that, there's that shock because there's some places I like going to eat it. That was before the food prices went crazy. So I was thinking this the other day, what is it going to be now when I go to, go out to eat? Is it going to be like, just for, I don't know, Thai food or Vietnamese food or whatever?
Yeah,
Is it
it's
going to
gonna
be?
cost you. It'll cost you $80. I'm
No,
guessing. Like, yeah.
no,
Maybe
it's not going to
50.
cost me $80 because I'm not going to pay it. So,
Well, and I understand also why prices have gone up. I mean, it's harder to find employees, and
it's a scam.
everything else costs more. So,
Scam.
well, the scam is with the large companies who
Yeah.
are just making more money. But an independent restaurant, that's a different story. It's been hard for them through COVID. There's a lot of times where they couldn't even be open, depending on the state. So, um, it's
It's over though.
it's not over.
It's not over.
Okay, worrying about it is over.
Mm,
No,
Depends on your immunity.
That it's really funny because I'm totally immune. And you know what? I have these tests and I take the test and nothing shows up. It's like, so I'm going, what is this? Oh, it's allergies. No, really, it is not COVID. It's like I can't even, if I tried to get COVID, I couldn't get it. So
well, I just got the new vaccine, which makes me feel better because
yeah,
um,
Yeah.
it supposedly prevents long COVID, and that is really the thing I've been
yeah,
worried about.
yeah. That would be unfortunate to get long COVID because it
Yeah.
doesn't go away. It,
And you don't know how it'll affect you. I mean, for some people, it affects their lungs or their heart, or it could affect your mind, which all of that is so anyway.
ask
But so
anybody. My mind's affected by it. I didn't need COVID to have my mind be affected.
okay, well,
Hey, it might improve your mind.
Oh, I don't mind. My theory is that they're actually they came here in a spaceship. They came here from light years away.
Uh-huh.
They needed a new place to live, which is why they can mutate so quickly. It's a higher life form that we're used to. I mean, think about it, how weird this is. There's that, then there's monkeypox, there's all this stuff.
But there have always been these things. Remember SARS? We skirted that, but
Yeah, people in Japan were wearing masks for years.
I know, and I think that's a very smart thing. And I would never fly. I haven't flown yet, but I will never fly without a mask. I mean, so many times I've flown and gotten a cold.
Oh, please. The last time I was sick, I got it from a plane flight.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Israel.
Oh, how
And the
long ago
plane,
was that?
it was 2017, and it was
Oh, okay.
full. It was completely full with kids,
Mhm.
sniveling kids crawling all over. And apparently, I
Yeah.
think that's where I got it on the way there. I couldn't even have fun there and then come back and get it. No, I had to get it when I got there. And it was
Uh-huh.
you know, it really hit me. I mean, it wasn't like a light cold. I was just like all clogged up. It was blowing my nose the whole
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, I had that happen like on the way to a craft show in Boston, and both Eric and I got sick, and so we were able to function at least. But it sucks having to do a craft show when you're kind of sniffling, and
Yeah.
we took Sudafed and all that. But yeah, it sucks.
I mean, that was 5 years ago. That's the last time I had anything,
Hmm.
cold, flu, anything.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so what's that all about?
Well, now, they say that the flu is going to be really bad this year because it's been dormant for so long. I don't know if that's true, but
I'm not getting it.
neither am I.
I can't remember the last time I had the flu.
Positive thinking.
I don't know that I've ever had the flu, actually. But um, I'm still wearing my mask.
I don't, I don't, I wouldn't say this in public because I'm certainly not a QAnon moron, but I wonder how much the masks actually help you. I mean, they say that it does and everything.
Well, I mean, it's physically the simplest thing we can do. And I haven't been sick. I'm doing all these craft fairs too. I haven't been sick since before. I can't remember last time I was sick. But
Yeah.
so, and like even when I do craft fairs, I'm wearing masks in crowds. Like if I go use the restroom, I wear a mask. I'm for the most part not going out. I'm not dining out. And because you can't have a mask on. So I mean, I think that masks are very effective because they just block the general, the general things around you. And yeah, I know some people don't think they do anything, but I am not willing to experiment. Somebody else could experiment.
I mean, I'm
Uh,
sure, I know they do.
I mean, look, I wear a mask when I buff. I wear a P100, which keeps out organic vapors and things like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I've been making jewelry for a long time now, and you know, I could breathe deeply, and so
They do.
I mean they work to a degree on an airplane. I don't know. I mean, but uh,
I spray my glazes, and so I wear a mask. I wear a heavy duty mask with those purple filters.
the filters, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Mine are the hot pink ones.
yeah, well, I was gonna
Yeah.
say purple, but yeah, same.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that's the same thing. We're talking about the same thing,
They're
but
no, they're different. They're different filters, but they're like a respirator mask, basically. Is what you're saying?
yeah, well, it's also, it's fumes too. It isn't just particles.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. But what I was gonna say was when I'm done, around my face, though, around the mask, there's still you can see the glaze because it's a light green color. So you have to
Hmm.
wash that off. But I'm not breathing that. But the thing is, but it reminds me, if I'm just wearing one of those paper masks, it's
Hmm.
still getting in there somewhere.
Right.
You know,
I understand that, but the the N95 masks
yeah.
um do like if somebody sneezes and they have COVID, say, and
Hmm.
you're next to them,
Hmm.
um and you don't have a mask on, you're you know, it could get into your lungs and you're going to breathe it in. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
was
my brother.
thinking I could fly with my P100 mask. It might not be the most comfortable because it's a big kind of mask.
Yeah.
It'll make everybody on the plane be afraid of you.
Right.
You look like
Which
it
might be
makes
a
you look
good
like an alien. Well,
it
that's
might be
good.
a good thing. That's a
Yeah,
good way to have like nobody sit in the third seat.
that's
If both
right. I
Eric,
know that's a
if
good
both Eric
thing.
and I, if we both wore those masks.
Yeah.
And kept scratching.
Oh, there you go.
Or
Right.
sneezing. Wear some outrageous clothing. Well, I don't know about this person, but I'm not taking any chances with that mask
Well,
and those clothes.
I wouldn't want the TSA to just stop me though, you know?
That's true. But listen, I won't go sit in a movie theater.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
To me, I think that's the worst. You know, I get
Actually,
and a game.
I'm going November 1st.
Yeah.
So what?
The Grateful Dead, they're going to be running a movie of a concert from 1972 in theaters all around the country.
Cool.
So are you going to wear a mask?
Yeah.
And, you know, look, if you're not eating anything, you should be fine, you know?
Who eats at Grateful Dead concerts?
Well, I think anyone who's
Now
smoking will
there's
do it
gummies
beforehand.
might want, I don't know.
Well, you know what? Sometimes they played for hours and hours and hours and hours. So you got to get hungry eventually.
So Larry, my eldest sister was a Deadhead or is a Deadhead, and I used to, as a little kid, I'd buy her, you know, a Dead album for her birthday, and so I knew all the songs and all that. But I actually saw them for the first time when Bill Graham died, and you know who I'm talking about, the concert promoter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
We all
Yeah,
know who
and
you're talking about.
so
We're
they had
old.
so they had a free concert in Golden Gate Park, and we went, and the Grateful Dead played, and along with a lot of other
yeah,
bands.
the Airplane and Quicksilver and
But
Mhm.
what the reporters, what journalists were reporting is, wow, there's 200,000 people here and only one arrest or no arrest or something. They were amazed at
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
mellow it was, and it's like, yeah, that's because people were, you know, getting stoned, and
right.
you know, it was a very docile crowd.
But it
Well,
always was.
not always. First of all, there's a really great documentary about Woodstock on I think it's on Prime. But there's Altamont.
Yeah, but that was the Rolling
Yes,
Stones, not the Dead.
right.
You know,
The Rolling Stones hired the Hells Angels to be
the
bodyguards.
promoters hired the Hells Angels.
Now,
The
it was the Rolling
Stones.
Stones.
I think there's a documentary about that too.
There
But yeah,
is.
well, the guy got killed during the Stones
Right.
playing.
Right. Yeah, Sam Cutler was the road manager for the Stones. After that concert, he became the road manager for the Dead.
Oh,
And somebody from Marquette became the equipment manager or for the Stones. And I always forget his name, but he actually died on tour with them after like 20 some years
oh.
of doing it, 20 years.
There's a guy in Shasta, California who roasts really delicious coffee, and he worked with the Dead when they did you know, when they were on the road and that sort of thing for many years. And anyway, he has very delicious coffee.
I was in San Francisco, 1979, New Year's Eve, at the closing of the Winterland Ballroom. Grateful Dead and the Blues Brothers, among other, played, and of course New Riders of the Purple Sage. It was an all-night concert.
But the Blues Brothers,
Yeah,
that's kind of funny because they really started out as a comedy sketch, didn't they?
Yeah.
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 Well,
They
there's
they tell a story
another.
of Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi turning the dead onto cocaine.
Oh.
I didn't see that one, but there's one about National Lampoon. I think it's another Prime documentary, and that was great. That it kind of, it took you through the Harvard Lampoon
Mhm.
and then National Lampoon. It was a magazine and it was really irreverent. I mean, they couldn't, it's so funny. You'd think that when we were that age, we thought, things will only get better. And in some ways it does, but when you look at that, you go, there's no way they could tell those jokes now today. It's
Too
too
much
offensive.
politically correct.
Yeah. And the
Well,
thing
but
is,
you look at shows like All in the Family. I mean,
yeah,
and
that too.
Maude
Yeah,
and Maude also, like they're so risque and
they were great.
They should bring them
and
back now.
and today it would never go over, and they were really poignant too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
They
not like they were offensive. They were just
they were
really
making really good points. Yeah.
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 There's no sense of humor anymore.
That is very true.
If you can't laugh at yourself,
Yeah, we live in such different times.
and yet
But
in
it's
some
also
ways it was worse.
but more people have guns now than they did in the 70s, and that's the biggest problem. I mean, you
I
can't
don't
just have
know.
a yelling, you can't, yes. There was much more gun control back then.
Well,
The laws were the same.
my father in like the 40s and 30s, he said the boys would take their air rifles to school so they could go plinking cans or whatever, shooting birds on the way home.
I had an air rifle.
Yeah, I mean, this was LA, so but
But there was
I lived in East LA.
nobody
which is
had nobody
gang
nobody had an
territory.
nobody had an AKA 47 back
They
then.
didn't have them.
And there was much more gun regulation. I think up until maybe it was 1980, Ronald Reagan. I'm not 100% sure, but
The
so many more people have guns now.
See, I think that that's not true. I think that there
It
always
is
were
it is
guns.
no, it's statistically true, and I don't have numbers in front of me, but it's there was much more gun regulation back then. It's much easier now, the last 30 years, to buy guns, and you don't even have to be mentally competent or anything like that. I mean, so many more Americans have guns. Americans have more guns than anywhere else in the world, and we have automatic weapons.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about you live on a farm or something and you have your rifle or whatever, but you can't get into a fight with anyone today because you'll end up dead.
Well, I don't know.
I'll get you numbers, Barry.
I don't uphold my end of that bargain because I don't have a gun. I've never shot a gun. I'm never gonna shoot a gun. So to me, that's the way you deal with it. You don't have this stuff. And this whole bullshit about protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Listen, if I had a gun, somebody was trying to rob me, I don't think I would shoot him because I'd still feel guilty afterwards, even though, he's harming me and I'm so
Defend.
there's no reason I have one.
Well, the other thing is, if you have a gun and you're not trained, which you don't need to be trained, you wouldn't even know how to quickly get it out to protect yourself. I mean, that's
right.
the other problem.
They should be selling bulletproof vests in this designer colors.
Yes, they should.
They
And
have
something,
bulletproof backpacks.
Yeah, for kids, yes.
Yeah.
You can buy a camera that's hooked to a system that sees in case you have an intruder.
what kids have
Yeah,
to go through
ring
today,
doorbell.
and
Yeah,
what kids have to go through today is, and teachers, several of my friends who are teachers, you know, recently, you know, didn't go back this semester. But they, you know, they have these drills all the time, and it's just uh that kids have to go through this
what kind of
is so
drills?
awful.
We had duck and cover drills when I was in school.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Yeah, the air raid siren
air
would
raid
go
drill.
on
We had-
and you'd
we-
have to get under your desk.
and we
Yeah,
had to go down into the basement with all the asbestos, you know, dripping from the ceiling, you know, the
That's where
particles. So, you know,
we actually had air raid drills too, and the band room was in the basement. That's where we had to go in elementary school, I remember. But you know, they have active shooter drills in schools now, and
I'd hate that. That's horrible.
where it is horrible, and it's
It's
just, you know, all too
The fact
common.
of life.
That they have to
Right.
do it, and the fact that it is part of fact of life.
Right. I mean,
It might
it's
be
like
time.
it's like in a, you know, I mean, kids in Ukraine, they have to, you know, prepare, you know, for, you know, I don't know how it's to go into the subway, which I think are the bomb shelters, and these kids here, you know, have to prepare the same way, like we're in war, because it is a war in a sense. So it's demented. God, I realize that might not be a politically correct word.
What?
Uh,
Cares?
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I will say, Barry, I mean, like, for example, I don't want to be called a craftsman because I'm not a man. And, you know, you could use the
Generic
word craft
term.
person, but it's not
Yeah.
generic because men have more rights than women now in this country. And so I don't actually think it's accurate, and I don't want to be called it. And the other thing is there are certain words that,
Craftsperson.
yeah, or
Well,
you
just
know, I could be called
crafter,
or metalsmith or whatever. I mean,
jeweler.
but there are a lot of neutral words, and even saying, hey guys, well, if there was if the bathroom was, if craftsmen or guys is so neutral, then why don't we
Hey.
just say gals and use that as a neutral word?
I'd be okay with that. Listen, you know what? It's really funny that you say that because I hear women say, "Hey guys," all the time,
I
and
do too, and I'm
I
pointing.
immediately, you know, it invokes that thought that you're saying. But
Right.
you know, so
So,
it's become part of the you know, the verbiage, the vernacular to
but we have to
mean
change.
anybody, huh?
I understand that, but the reason why I don't accept it is because the Supreme Court doesn't accept it. So because a larger population than men do not have equal rights, then I would rather you know, use words that are gender neutral. And you know, it's a fine line between politically correct and intolerance. But you know, there are a lot of people who don't identify as men or women. So craft person or whatever, you know, more that gender neutral word, you know, is being sensitive. So being sensitive to people, I think,
Yeah.
is different than being intolerant.
Yeah, the problem is they're using the word vendor.
I was gonna say
Well,
I was gonna say the only word I don't want to hear is vendor.
I know. I just
Call me
cringe
whatever you
at that.
want. Just don't call me vendor.
Yeah, I
Right.
hate that.
I'm not selling popcorn or funnel cakes. That's a vendor.
I hate that word. By the way, a certain show is coming back. I just got an email, so I assume that it's not private information. It was a group email for Art in the High Desert.
Art in
I
the High
never did
Desert
it.
is coming back.
Yes.
Isn't that Carla Fox's show?
Yeah.
Well, now it's Bierstum's show.
Oh no, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yes. Oh, he'll do a good job. And he has the you know, I'm sure
Before
Carla
you,
and her husband will be you know, at least consultants or something
you
to
know,
get it
I like all
started.
these people, but uh Oscar says that that group is judging Coconut Grove, And I like them, but they never let me in. Or when they've done juring, they haven't let me in their shows. Now I never applied to Art in the High Desert, and I expect that if I do, I'm going to get in. But we'll see what happens at Coconut Grove,
Yeah,
because
but
I'll
Art
tell
in the
you
High
something.
Desert is too far away.
I've done that. I've done Coconut Grove more than all those people put together, and I probably won awards there more than all of them put together have. So let's just see if I hadn't applied since as long as Katrina ran it. I stopped doing it when she got the thing because we didn't get along. But I was always automatic, and so we'll see. That would that they're taking over. And I don't mind I don't mind them doing this, running things and picking because it's about taste. And if I get in, then okay, fine, I don't care. But if I don't get in, it's just frustrating.
Well, it is. I mean, there are plenty of shows that I've gotten into for years and that I don't get in. Like I didn't get into Sun Valley this year. I got on the wait list. And, I won a million awards there. Just,
So
it's just how it goes. I mean, it's,
sort of,
you know what I mean? There's
yeah,
just so
but
many people who
I never
apply.
accept the status quo. Why? I don't want, and I don't want anybody to take this wrong, because I really like David Gorstam a lot, and I like Carla Fox a lot. But why should they be the arbiter of taste?
Well, if it's their show, then they can be. So,
Coconut Grove's not their show.
yeah, but
That's
if
what
they
I'm
were
talking about.
hired or, to be the jurors, I mean, I don't know if whoever the juror is, they're the arbiter of the taste, right? I mean, in any show.
Okay,
So,
here's the
right?
problem I have with our world. At least in the
Okay.
ceramics world,
Mhm.
there's the ceramic world where certain there's a certain hierarchy of who's good and who isn't good. In the art fair world, there's also a hierarchy of who's good and who isn't good, but it's two different groups. In the real clay world, the art fair people aren't even getting in. They're laughing at it. They're going, I wouldn't let this is junk. In the art fair world, they all think they're really great. And there is overlap. There are a lot of people in our world that are really good. But there's people doing the judging on a different set of rules.
So
Than
Barry, I'm a jeweler, and
yeah,
I know that people are judging jewelry by what they would wear. Um,
yeah.
I mean, they don't know anything about techniques.
Yeah. You're talking about the
Uh,
art fairs.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so it just, I mean,
yeah.
it's just how it goes, though. I mean, it sucks, but
So you're
I
saying
wish
it's
I
no
wish there
different with
were
jewelry than it is for clay. It's the same thing.
right. I
Yeah.
mean, like with clay, I think a juror should at least know, I don't know, are they slab building or are they coil building? Like just some general stuff.
That isn't
But
even knowing anything, because
right, but that's the thing. I mean, so um, it's you only have a few jurors, right? And
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
with my work, I always write my work is not cast,
Hmm.
because it's hand fabricated and there's a
Hmm.
difference. And
Yeah.
but I don't even know if people know what the word cast means. So
I was going to ask you, okay, that's great that you put that down. And I write the same thing technically. I give some of those clues in my little thing that I have to write. But if they don't know what the difference is, and they don't know degree of difficulty getting to a certain point,
right.
then it's frustrating. It is to me.
Well, one of the things I've learned, because of Larry Berman and this group, is that when you write your descriptions, you have to write them in a way, like instead of saying cone 10, you'd have to say,
High
fired
fire.
very hot. Pardon?
High fire.
Yes, high fire, exactly. Yeah. And
But
and so
do people even know what that is?
I do.
There's high fire, mid range, and low fire.
Yeah.
Does
okay.
anybody know the
Well,
difference between the three?
but
I
it
do
makes
I
more
do.
sense than saying cone 10. which
Right, but so
nobody
that's what
knows.
I've-
and-
I don't say content.
Well,
Well,
that's what
some
I've
people do.
learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean, I had studio neighbors that were potters, so, you know, I've learned a bit here and there. But what I've learned from your group is, you know, you try to speak a little like a stonist and the jeweler knows the techniques. I mean, the juror, and that's an important thing, to not assume
Hmm.
that and then you have to figure out how to say it in a very few words, because you
so
don't
that
know.
so that they understand what you're saying.
Right,
It's a
but
tricky thing
it is very tricky.
And
because I'm,
besides that one show you really want to get into, they don't even read it.
yeah, you know, I say multiple fired because I am firing the pieces more than once. And to me, that's that's a very significant difference between 99% of people that do clay and me. And
Mhm.
and it requires another level of education or knowing what you're doing.
But that's
You
a
know,
simple thing to say. So even if people
I do
don't
say that.
understand, right? So then I think that that's a good statement. But some things, like if you do chasing and repoussé, it's very hard to say it in a simplistic way because you take up so many words and you don't get you know, you don't have a lot of words to use.
You know what's funny about that? I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm thinking, oh, it's some French technique. Now, you know,
It actually means hammering in, let's say, relief, and then the
yeah,
opposite in,
uh-huh,
you know,
yeah,
and but to say that in
You
a
just said
different
it.
way,
yeah,
right, except that
difficult.
but you often don't have the characters to say it. So
Hey,
that's the other challenge.
is that an advanced technique?
Um, it's, I mean, I would say it's a technique that when you first learn it, you're not good at it, and it takes time to build up that skill, if that's what you mean by advanced.
No, everything is like that.
Well, then it's like that.
And do you, okay, my next question, do
I
you do that?
I don't, no, I don't.
Give me a
And I don't
technique that you
see,
use. I want to get at something. So let
all
me ask
right.
you some questions. What technique do you use that, let's say, sets you apart
You could, well, you could say
personally?
my work is hand raised, which is, you know, instead of saying anticlastic forms, I would say
Yeah,
hand raised,
okay.
because nobody would know what anticlastic or synclastic means.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, hand raised.
What is
I'm
that?
not even
Mhm.
sure what that is. Now, okay, now my next question is, if you
Mhm.
say that, what do you do that nobody else does? You've taken it to the next level.
Mhm.
What do you do? Do you have something like that? Do you do that?
Yeah. And I would say that you know, these pods that I make, it's not like
Yes.
nobody else makes them, but I've made them my own. I've given them, let's say, my own voice.
Yeah.
I fold form them. Um, I don't know that anyone fold forms their pods, but you know,
Okay.
I'm not sure you understand what fold forming is either. But I guess if you look at my work
Yeah.
and you read the statement, like hand raised
Uh-huh.
fold form pods, then you could see the pods
Yeah.
are, you
Okay.
know,
Here's an issue.
yeah.
If you're applying to one of the top shows that project the images and they're reading the artist's statement, by the time they finish, your images are no longer on screen. The next
Yeah.
artist images are. So they
Yeah.
can't relate the images to the words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I believe they read the statement while the images are up, don't they?
Right.
I mean,
but they can't digest it while
okay.
they're looking at the images. They need to think about it for a couple of seconds.
How
Uh-huh.
many
And
shows
they're
have
not
Or
given it, they're not given that time.
actually, I don't know that they need to think about it. If they look at the images and they hear hand raised pods, and they see there's, all these pods my work is made up
By the
of.
time they finish reading it and look up,
Hmm.
the images are the next artist images.
Okay.
Are they
Well,
reading
I
it, or
tried-
somebody
Is
somebody
somebody's reading
verbalizing
it out loud.
somebody's reading
Yeah.
it, right?
So they're
I
looking, but they're
tried to
looking at
get
the
them to slow
pictures.
down and give them time to digest what they're hearing and how it relates to the images they see.
Hmm.
But
Now,
there's this race to the finish line.
Yeah.
uh-huh. I mean, it's tricky when the
Keep that on.
jurors are not familiar with, your medium.
Well, and you have to
Right.
assume they're not.
Right, that's right. So, you can only spell so much out in 100 or 200 characters. So, so hand fabricated, I don't know if people understand what that means, which is why I say my work is not cast at the end, but I don't know if they know what that means either. Fabricated, cast.
I think hand
Um,
fabricated is a better description than not cast.
well, I do both. If I have room for not cast, I
Yeah.
use that too. So, because
Why
a lot
not
of people
just-
think my,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, it's all right. You go ahead. Why not just?
Well, I was going to say, why not just one of a kind hand fabricated? Period.
Because most people still think my work is cast.
Yeah. So I get that. You have to say hand fabricated.
Right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
so one of a kind hand fabricated, not cast.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
your artist statement.
Right. I wonder what I use. I should look.
You know,
Oh,
I
and then
think
I
some-
say findings. I say findings artist made. Now, I don't know if people know what findings are.
No.
Well, then how do you say, clasps, latches, connectors,
you don't
all
need to
those
bring
things?
that up.
You
You
don't.
don't need to
Well,
bring that up.
Why? But that's
But
a feature of my work.
yeah, but it's only
Because
a feature to the people that understand that and they can see by
No, wait a
looking
minute.
at it. You don't need the words for it.
No.
But if
Listen, I want
I
to get at
Yeah.
something that I'm curious. When you
Yeah.
say that, are you saying that the hand, the clasp and everything, that's all handmade? You're doing
Yeah.
everything? Is that what you're
Mhm.
saying? And that's what you
Yes.
want to point out?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see the word, and that would be a plus to actually say that.
And it's
See,
kind of a specialty of mine.
to
So
me,
Yeah.
I think everything that anybody makes, they should make the whole thing. For instance, it bugs me when somebody has clocks,
Mhm.
on a tile or something, on the background. So they paint the background, but the mechanics are, they purchase it.
Right,
There's plenty
right.
of stuff that they buy. Well, that bothers
Mhm.
me. I like,
Right.
if I ran a show, everything would have to be made by the person. And
Mhm. Right.
so Allison, personally, I'm looking for that, and I like that. The problem is that I'm in a minority, or we're in a minority.
And how
Kids
do you
think-
say it? That's the other thing. How do you say it in a short? So, Larry, I get what you're, that's short and sweet. But
But short and sweet means they'll understand what you're saying while the
they're
image
not
is there.
they're not going to know I make my own clasps. I mean, let's say I have a bracelet, right? And it's the front of it is the clasp, but it's, blends in with the bracelet. So I just don't know if people understand that.
This is why there should be a jeweler on every jury.
No,
Mhm.
no, Allison, no, and it has to be
Yeah.
somebody that makes their own stuff or understands it, because if they buy that stuff, they're not going to value it. You can't be sure, you can't know if that you're getting that kind of type of jeweler.
Mhm. I always try to have a bracelet closed so it's a square, but because the clasp is front and center, because if I have a necklace, I can't show the clasp unless I'm hesitant to do an inset, unless it's a front clasp necklace, then I can
The way
sell it and I mean show it.
the way
But-
to do it with the clasp is to include it in the one sentence. Don't have a separate sentence, because that takes up letters.
Right, right.
So you'd have to add it, you know, you could say including the clasp. I hand fabricate everything, including the clasp.
Right. So the reason why I say findings, which, you know, I get how people might not know what that is, but because findings are, it's a blanket term for all types of connectors and,
Yeah.
you know, hinges and all kinds of things. So, but I don't know if there's any general term that's more mainstream, you know?
I leave out some, and I don't do this all the time because they want, you know, a complete sentence, but I can tell you what I say. I just start with wheel thrown, cut, and altered.
Hmm.
I don't say my pieces are wheel
Oh
thrown, cut,
yeah,
and
no,
altered
I don't do that either. And
because you need that
yeah.
space.
Hmm.
And then I
Besides,
say,
you should have no first person references.
yeah,
Right.
then I say each piece um gets 2 electric firings and then 2 to 4 raku firings. And then if I still have space, if it's a longer one, I'll say that that gives me colors and textures not usually found in raku.
Hmm.
And that's my whole thing. It pretty much covers everything I do in as generic a, you know, as I can be.
Yeah. If I have more room, I'll say natural stones in smooth, faceted, and uh, te texture. I forget. There's 3 different
Yeah. Yeah.
finishes. So, and that's pretty, you know, direct, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's that 100 characters is tough, and I get it. The point is that, you know, hopefully they don't need to read the description, but um, yeah,
Yeah, there's
I don't
certain
know.
things I say, like I have a little more like lately I've been saying I've been working in the raku process for 35 years. That's
Oh
how I
yeah.
start up. You know,
Hmm.
just because but I say that because I want them to know that I've done this for a long time. You know,
So
I should,
Larry, what do you think about that? That like mentioning how many years you've been.
That's a waste of words, characters.
yeah, but sometimes you need to fill in the stuff of you just having the you know.
You know, if you keep it short, they'll finish reading and be able to digest that while they're looking at your images.
Well, with
Yeah.
100 words, 100 letters,
Characters.
you can't put that sentence in there.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if, especially if it's supposed to be a blind jury, I don't know that,
There
you
are
know,
no
the
blind
duration.
juries, somebody once said.
Well, sure. I mean, I get what you're saying. But I mean, I don't know that it matters as far as how long you've been doing it. It's
Right.
more if they like the work or not.
Hey, I started working with an artist that does wood turnings with inlay. Really nice.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
His grandfather has been doing the top shows in the country and is retiring.
Oh.
And he taught his grandson how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He's
And
going
that
in
would be
there
a
with a,
great.
he's gone in there with a proven product and he'll get into the top shows.
But is he making his own work or his
Yeah.
grandfather's
No, he's
designs?
making his own work. He's been
Oh,
taught how
good.
to do it.
Right. So in his booth artist statement, that's a very nice story to mention also. You know, I mean, I think it's I don't know, endearing
Okay.
that
Yeah.
he's carrying on the craft. And
Oh, I'll wait till Larry gets back. I gotta go.
I know I was in that too.
It's almost 25 after 6.
Yeah, this meeting has gone on. Allison got her money's worth, even though she came.
Ah.
Although she's working the whole time,
I can't
every
sit still,
time.
but also it's true, but you know, I'm a little backlogged here and got open studios coming up soon. And you know, there's certain designs, if I don't have them, no, I don't have to have more than one of one design, but if I don't have any, I can't, you know, sell them. But if I have at least one, then yeah, well, you know, if you don't have it, you can't sell it. But if I
I
have,
know. I was being
if I have,
facetious.
but if I have a design and I only have one pair, but somebody likes the design but wants other stones, then I can take an order. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to
All
Yeah.
right. I gotta
Gotcha.
go.
anyway,
I stayed too long.
nice seeing you all, and
Yeah.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
yes, happy New
Happy
Year.
New
Here's
Year.
hoping.
Yeah, by the time the meeting's over, it'll be next week.
Right. It'll be Rosh Hashanah. I mean, Yom
It is,
Kippur.
no, Russia, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Right.
Rosh Hashanah's
right.
already gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.